Bardock and Turles' pods have met up, and them, Turles and Granola, begin to head to Earth together. Though, before they're able to make it there, they see a giant ship appear in front of them. They are terrified, as this ship appears to be a Frieza ship, and they are beamed on board. They burst out of their pods and burst through the ship, killing all of the soldiers that get in their way. And, in the main chamber, they're surprised to see not Frieza, but his brother, Cooler. Cooler turns around to eye up to 3. He says that he knows that the Saiyans defeated his brother and father some years ago, so he decided to let them live and hide out. He took over the family operation and has been running it in King Cold's stead, though his brother, full of himself as always, has tried to usurp Cooler and gain back his control of the galaxy. He's not the biggest fan of that, and so wants to eliminate his brother as well, though he's not so sure if he can do it himself now, so wants to recruit these Saiyans. He'd found the Heater's Saiyans, but never thought he'd find a Saiyan who took down both Frieza and King Cold. He wants to join them in taking down Frieza. However, he wants to test their strength beforehand. Bardock tells Cooler that while he appreciates the offer, they're on their way to another planet to save their family, so they need to make it there now before they're all killed by more Saiyans. Cooler chuckles, saying that's pretty funny that the monkeys are fighting amongst themselves, and while he'd love to watch that, he's not letting them leave until they show off their power. He commands his armored squadron to attack, as Turles commands the Heaters to attack. Turles' group and Cooler's group clash, with Cooler's 3 overwhelming all of Turles' men. Granola is the only one powerful enough to bash with the squad, and in tow save all of his teammates by eliminating all of Cooler's men, except for SAGA. Cooler steps in now, saying that while his men were unimpressive, this Cerulean is certainly one to look out for. He'd like to see his strength. Cooler and Granola fight, as Granola tries to snipe at all of Cooler's vitals, though Cooler is way too fast for him and is able to beat around Granola pretty easily, throwing him into Turles and Bardock. Bardock is ready to step in next, but Turles says he thinks he can handle it himself. Bardock tells him not to be cocky, as they need to finish him fast so they can get to Earth. Turles shrugs him off, saying he's not being cocky. He's been eating many fruits from the Tree of Might in his years, so now he's accustomed to a new realm of power. Turles powers up and erupts into his false Super Saiyan form. Bardock is confused on why he looks so different like this. This looks like Super Saiyan, but not. Is this form attained by just eating fruits from the Tree of Might? Turles rushes in to attack Cooler, with Cooler blocking most of his hits, but not all of them. Cooler is surprised by how powerful these Saiyans are, and if he's not careful, they might actually overcome him someday. Cooler begins to take the fight more seriously, with him and Turles being evenly matched for the most part, so he decides he's going to take it one step further. He bulks up and transforms into his 5th form. The power erupts through the ship, almost destroying it from the sheer aura alone, and Turles knows he's gonna need some help now. Bardock erupts into his Super Saiyan form as the two stand together, ready to battle Cooler. Vegeta eyes the group in front of him, looking around for the Saiyan Bardock. However, he can't find him. He sees 2 people who look very similar to him, but one of them is a woman and the other is way too young. He looks over and sees Gine, the wife of Bardock, and then Jocha, the one who is at the bar with Bardock and Turles. He asks the group where Bardock is, and if he's too much of a coward to come out and fight himself. While the Saiyans are surprised on Vegeta asking for Bardock, the rest of the Z-Fighters are more shocked on who else is with the Saiyans. It's Krillin. How is he out of jail? And he joined up with the other Saiyans to take revenge? Seeing Krillin especially angers Kakarot, and he tells him that just because he's behind powerful warriors doesn't mean he's safe. He's gonna be the first one to go. Krillin gulps and shuffles away nervously, which catches Goku's eye. It's like he doesn't want to be here? What's up with that? Gine tells the prince that Bardock isn't here. They haven't seen him in decades. Vegeta sticks his hand out towards her, saying he knows she's lying. If he doesn't come out in 10 seconds, then he'll blast them all away. Raditz instantly appears in front of his mom and fires a blast right at Vegeta, which catches him off guard. Vegeta is able to catch the blast in time, but is surprised on how that actually didn't tickle. Raditz tells Vegeta that Bardock isn't here, and if he doesn't get off this planet right now, then he's got a death wish. Vegeta smiles, telling the others that he guesses Bardock really isn't here. However, they're not going to leave empty-handed. They promised Lord Frieza that they'd return with Saiyans, so they're going to return with Saiyans. He motions for the others to move out and take them down, with him telling Broly to go easy on them. They don't need him blowing up this planet like you did last time. Krillin stands back, but Vegeta kicks him up to fight as well, saying that if he doesn't fight with them, then he'll kill him himself. He gives the command to Broly, and Broly's power begins to rise. The others are pretty shocked at this power, even Trunks and Ranch. Who could this guy be? Broly then powers up, with him gaining a yellow aura like a Super Saiyan, but doesn't actually transform himself. His hair is a different color, and it seems like he's in that false Super Saiyan form Raditz had before. But it's still different. Kakarot and Raditz step up and power themselves up as well into their Super Saiyan forms. This actually does shock Vegeta. These weak whelps can go Super Saiyan as well? That's not something he would have figured out. They're full of surprises already, but they're no match for him or Broly. Broly powers up and rushes in, with Raditz and Kakarot barely catching him and being launched far away, with Broly following after them. Nappa, Tarbell, and Krillin then barrel in, with the groups breaking up into who to fight. With Broly off, Jocha gets into a stance ready to battle Vegeta. Vegeta looks over and sees her, future Trunks, and Ranch, not knowing who those two are, but their battle power is very strange to him. The boy can't stop looking at him either. Ranch tries to tell him to calm down, as if he steps in too early, then maybe this guy, his real father, won't turn good and he might not be born. Trunks of course wonders how he can be born if Kakarot and Bulma are together, and Jocha is choosing to ignore them because it's future nonsense stuff that she doesn't really understand. She attacks Vegeta, and unlike the regular Jocha series, Vegeta and her don't really know each other, so they're not going to have that emotional of a battle with Vegeta as she did in her series, which is great by the way, definitely go watch it. Vegeta is holding back, but is amused by the female Saiyan, with Ranch and Trunks occasionally stepping in faster than Vegeta can see to help Jocha, but she doesn't want their help and continues fighting with him with her own strength. It definitely impresses Vegeta, but unfortunately in this series he's trained with Broly his whole life. So Jocha is unfortunately not really a challenge, so she has to back out and try to recover for now. Guinea, Tien, and Chaozu stand up against Nappa, with Guinea recalling how she really let him have it many years ago. Does he still have the scar? Nappa smiles, telling her it's not going to go like before. He's trained with the legendary Super Saiyan himself. Doesn't matter how many of them team up on him, he'll take them all out easily. The three team up against Nappa, with Guinea surprised at how Nappa really wasn't bluffing. He's a lot more powerful than before. Her and the others can still keep up with him, but he's not giving an inch. His immense power is able to push them back, and while Tien and Chaozu are definitely the better skilled martial artist fighters, Nappa's power more than makes up for that, as he can push them away as fast as they come at him. Tien can't really charge up a tri-beam fast enough, as Nappa will come charging in the moment he sees something funny. Guinea is beginning to sweat too, and once they fall back, Tien tells her to stand back. He's clearly more powerful than all of them, which he didn't expect. But he learned a technique on King Kai's planet that will close the gap significantly. Tien gets into a fighting stance and yells out, Kaioken. A red aura bursts up around Tien as he rushes in and clocks Nappa across the face. Nappa, surprised, goes flying as Tien reappears and begins his beatdown on Nappa. Nappa can barely fight back as Tien's sudden boost in power floors him. He is clobbered around with Guinea and Chaozu cheering him on, and he's got Nappa on the ropes. Not for much longer, as Nappa catches one of Tien's fists and his power triples. Tien is immediately confused and screams out as Nappa crushes Tien's fist in his hand. Tien screams out as Nappa explodes in power. His armor flies off and he grows gigantic in size. His pupils disappear and he screams. Tien is slammed into the ground as Nappa stomps on his back. Chaozu explodes into his own Kaioken and fires a Dodonpa at Nappa. Nappa just tanks the blow in the face and appears in front of Chaozu, nailing him right in the stomach. Chaozu spits up blood as he is launched right towards Guinea. Guinea catches Chaozu and doesn't have much time to react, with Nappa appearing right in front of her as well. Yamcha zooms in to land a Wolf Fang fist onto Nappa's chest, which slightly stuns him momentarily so Gine can get out of the way. Yamcha tries to slam some more hits on him, but Nappa isn't budging anymore and lands a devastating hit to the side of Yamcha's head. Yamcha goes flying into nearby debris, being immediately knocked out cold. Tien weakly stands back up and powers up into his Kaioken times 6. He slams into Nappa's back, which actually manages to stun the giant, but not for long. He turns back around, swinging his hand, with Tien using his good arm to block the hit. The two engage in on each other, trading blows, with it being really hard for Tien to keep up with a broken arm. The Kaioken isn't doing him any favors anyway, as it continuously strains his body, but Tien is using his mastery of ki control to try to diminish its effects, so he can fight for a lot longer than the others in his Kaioken. Nappa's power has increased too much for him though. Even with his maximum Kaioken, Nappa's power is far outside of what he expected. He continues to fight back as much as he can, but the broken arm is too much of a hindrance. Tien is clobbered to the ground, and the Kaioken escapes him. Nappa raises his hand for the finishing blow until Chaozu uses telekinesis to stop Nappa in place. With Nappa stopped, Gine is able to rush over and grab Tien, flying him out of the way. Nappa breaks out and launches a ki ball at Gine, nailing her right in the back, sending her and Tien flying. Nappa then turns toward Chaozu, opening his mouth and launching a ki blast right out of it. Chaozu explodes in Kaioken once more to deflect the attack, but it's way too much for him. He can feel himself being overcome by the attack, with Trunks and Ranch noticing this. Trunks goes to fire a beam at Nappa to save Chaozu, with Vegeta appearing in front of Trunks, nailing him right in the face. Trunks is surprised on the strength of his father, and this moment of shock is found too late. Nappa's beam overcomes Chaozu, and he is engulfed by the attack, his body deteriorating until it's no more. Chaozu has died. Tarbell isn't really having that fun of a time against the warriors he's fighting. Bulma has been able to upgrade her armor by a lot, and is able to pretty much match Tarbell in power, so with Hercule and Piccolo flying around and fighting him too, it's pretty much overkill for them. Bulma tells Tarbell that she's disappointed in his power, and he really isn't fair up to them at all. Tarbell is pretty saddened by this remark, as he's not really used to being on the front lines. Normally his brother or Broly handle everything, so he's always pretty left behind. He doesn't even train with Broly either, as that's mainly a Vegeta and Nappa thing. So, him battling these really strong Earthlings and a Namekian, yet not going so well. But he does have something else up his sleeve he can use to fight with these guys more. He backs away from them for a second and launches a power ball up into the air. He makes its power explode, and an array of blitz waves hits Tarbell. He begins to power up, growing and growing, until he eventually transforms into a great ape. The three scream out as Tarbell goes to stomp on them. Bulma flies around in her armor, blasting all over at the giant monkey, but Tarbell's strength is increased to way above hers, and he is able to swat her away like she's nothing. His power has grown pretty highly compared to that of Piccolo and Hercules as well, but the two of them aren't going to let him get the upper hand as they unleash their Kaioken. The two fly all around Tarbell and smack him all around. While Tarbell's power and speed has grown by a huge margin, it's still not enough for facing off against a Kaioken, especially when it's used by Hercule and Piccolo, who were already way stronger than him to begin with. He begins to get felled by the strikes until Hercule is slapped away by another great ape next to him, Krillin. A few minutes before, Krillin was being beaten around by Goku, Chi-Chi, Launch, and Yajirobe. Goku mainly was asking him why he was doing this. She always felt bad for the way everybody treated him here, and she tried to help him on more than one occasion, but then he had to go and kill Vomi and then team up with the Saiyans? He's absurd. If they find out that he's not a real Saiyan, then they'll probably kill him anyways. Krillin yells at her to shut up and punches her across her face to send her flying away. Krillin has grown a lot stronger since he was locked up, as on the way to Earth, he was one of Broly's personal punching bags alongside Nappa, which gave him plenty of Zenkais on the way here to be able to match up with everybody. Yajirobe and Launch swarm him, with Yajirobe aiming for his tail and Launch just trying to knock him out. Krillin fends off the two of them, dodging the sword, catching it, and breaking it. He fires a beam to get Yajirobe off of him, and then grabs Launch, kneeing her right in the head. Chi-Chi bursts into a Kaioken and nails Krillin in the back. Krillin spits out blood as he swings around to trade blows with Chi-Chi. This technique, her power is amplified by a huge margin. He can still somewhat keep up with her, but this power is huge. The two seem evenly matched, with that not being the case for long, as Goku and Yajirobe power up into their Kaiokens as well and surround Krillin. These three then take a huge advantage, and he's beaten around pretty badly. That is, until he looks up and sees Tarbell's artificial moon in the air. He wonders what that is, until he can feel himself growing in power and losing his mind in the process. No, wait, this is the Great Ape. He only accessed his power once on accident once he became a Saiyan, so now he has no control over it. He powers up into a Great Ape, shocking all of them, with him rampaging around and slamming all three of them away. Chi-Chi flies in to launch her fireball at him, but Krillin grabs onto her and begins squeezing. Chi-Chi falls out of the Kaioken as Goku nails him right in the face, with Krillin letting go and stumbling back. He then opens his mouth, launching a huge beam right at Goku. Goku gets into a defensive stance and blocks the beam as best as she can, but it's very powerful and the beam launches her away. Yajirobe powers up into his Kaioken once more and goes to swing for Krillin's tail. He kicks the tail, with Krillin roaring and then slamming him on the head. Yajirobe falls to the ground, badly hurt by this attack and losing his Kaioken. Krillin then lifts his foot up and slams down on Yajirobe's body, launching Chi-Chi scream out, but it's too late. Krillin lifts his foot up, revealing Yajirobe's crushed body. Yajirobe is dead. Krillin lets out another loud roar and looks on to see another Great Ape near him. He stomps over and swings at the ape, accidentally hitting Hercule. Hercule slams him to the ground as Tarbell turns to thank Krillin for the assist. However, Krillin didn't mean to do that and then decks Tarbell across the face. Tarbell stumbles back, screaming, "What the hell is he doing?" until he realizes that Krillin doesn't have any control in his Great Ape form. Tarbell strikes back at Krillin, unsure of what he can do, as Krillin's Great Ape form is way more powerful than his. Goku, Chi-Chi, and Piccolo fly back up in their Kaiokens and slam around Krillin, causing him to stumble back by all of these strong powers of his all at once. Tarbell could fight them off as well, but really doesn't want to, as then that wouldn't benefit him very much. He lets the others help him out against Krillin, and eventually, Piccolo is able to sneak behind him and launch his special beam cannon right at his tail, tearing it clean off. Krillin yells out as he begins to shrink. He reverts back into his normal form and collapses unconscious to the ground. Part of Tarbell is relieved, until he notices that now he has to fight the rest of these guys himself. That is, until he hears a giant explosion behind him, with the others looking on as well, seeing that Nappa has just killed Chaozu. Trunks punches his father away and yells out, "No! Chaozu is dead?" He looks over too near the Great Ape to see that Yajirobe has been killed as well. This can't be. They were too distracted by Vegeta that they weren't able to save them. It normally wouldn't be that big of a deal, but these Dragon Balls can't revive anybody. These two are really gone for good. Trunks bursts into a Super Saiyan and eyes Vegeta. Vegeta is really shocked now. This guy's a Saiyan? And can become a Super Saiyan as well? Where did he come from? Trunks walks towards his father and tells him he's not supposed to interfere like this, but he won't let anybody else die. He's taking him out now. Trunks goes to swing at Vegeta, with him powering up into his own Super Saiyan form and blocking the strike. Trunks rolls his eyes. Of course his dad can become a Super Saiyan early too. He should have expected that. He powers up a little more and battles his father, hoping to quickly knock him out. Nappa looks over at the warriors next to Tarbell and rushes in to help him out. Nappa slams into Hercule and Piccolo, causing the two to spit blood and slam him to the ground. His strength, it's huge. Launching Chi-Chi fly over to help, with Nappa grabbing Chi-Chi and slamming her into launch, knocking her right out. Chi-Chi powers up into her Kaioken to break Nappa's grip and fires her fireball attack at him, which does manage to send him back a ways. Goku tries to go in to help, but is occupied by Tarbell. She powers up and slams his head, causing him to stumble back. She then flies around him and fires a Buster Cannon right at his tail, completely evaporating it. Tarbell screams out as he begins to shrink back to normal. Once he reverts back, Goku slams him on the back of the head, knocking him right out. She can barely turn around though, once she is nailed in the chest by Nappa. Chi-Chi rushes in to help her, and the two brawl with Nappa, though his power is way too much for them even in Kaioken. he slams the two into each other and continues to land devastating hits. Chi-Chi is knocked out, with Goku nearing it as her vision blurs. That is, until a gigantic hand reaches out and blocks Nappa's strikes on Goku. He turns to see a gigantic mechanical robot. Bulma's Saiya Buster slams Nappa upside the head, slamming him into the ground. Goku flies up and begins to fire a barrage of ki blasts at him to keep him down. Nappa struggles to deflect the attacks and flies back up to fight, with Bulma punching his entire body away with one fist. Nappa charges in and battles with the Saiya Buster, though Bulma has modified the armor to contend with great apes, so nothing he's going to do is gonna pierce the armor. Goku flies back in to help as well, and now the tables are finally turning. The Saiya Buster is stronger than he thought, so Nappa now needs to hold this and a Kaioken Goku back. Vegeta, meanwhile, isn't having very good luck. This Trunks is a lot stronger than him. A Super Saiyan. He's beginning to get flashbacks of Bardock and knows that he's not losing to another Super Saiyan. He calls out for his brother to come and help him, with Broly listening in. Broly, for the past while, has been messing with Kakarot and Raditz very badly. The two are giving it everything that they have in their Super Saiyan forms, and nothing is seeming to budge. This guy isn't even in a real Super Saiyan form, and he's just toying with them. It doesn't seem like things are going to go well, so they decide to show off the fruits of their training. Mainly, what they achieved in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, a level above Super Saiyan. The two power up, with their ki growing tremendously. Broly, impressed by this power, watches in awe as the two explode in power, and their muscles grow bigger and bigger, until they ascend into their Super Saiyan Grade 2 forms. With this extra power, they are finally able to land some hard hits on Broly that push the giant back. They think they have this in a bag, until Broly shows off that he was holding back as well. Broly stops holding back on his restricted form and fully unleashes his normal Super Saiyan form. Kakarot and Raditz fly back in fear. This is his true Super Saiyan form? This power far outclasses any of theirs, and they're at a level beyond Super Saiyan. How is that possible? Broly begins to beat down on the two, with them unbelievably confused. They've gotten so powerful, so how can a regular Super Saiyan be doing this much damage to them? They get saved once Vegeta calls out for Broly's help. Broly immediately flies away from the two, and in front of Vegeta to save him from Trunks. Broly blocks his strike and goes to kick Trunks away. Trunks isn't having this though, and catches Broly's kick. He nails him in the face, with Broly stumbling back and rubbing his cheek. That actually hurt. Trunks begins to lay into Broly as well, saying that he has no idea who this is and what change was needed to bring him here, but it doesn't matter, he's going down and ending this madness here. Broly can't believe the strength of this Saiyan, since he's never been outmatched in anything. But here he is, unable to fight back. It's awful, it's terrifying, it's exciting. Trunks knocks Broly into a nearby mountain, and then sets his sights on Vegeta. Vegeta stumbles back in fear. There's no way Broly lost? But he's the legendary Super Saiyan. Nobody can beat him. Trunks lands in front of him, with Kakarot and Raditz landing next to him as well, amazed at how powerful Trunks is. Vegeta explodes in rage, pushing his Super Saiyan form to its limit. He can't admit defeat now. He looks over to Nappa, seeing him struggling against a robot built by a human, and Turbo and Krillin knocked out unconscious. The Saiyans are losing. These useless fools. He explodes in power once more, yelling out at Nappa that he's an idiot and fires a beam directly at him. Nappa turns around and sees the beam coming right at him, with him catching it and yelling out in fear. What did he do? The beam almost engulfs Nappa until Goku and Bulma fire out an attack to blow it up. The explosion knocks Nappa to the ground, with him losing his transformation and seemingly being killed. Goku lands next to Vegeta, asking him how he could do that to his own teammate. Is he mad that he's losing? Vegeta goes to land a hit to shut her up, but Trunks appears and kicks him into the ground. Vegeta reverts back to normal and looks up in fear. Trunks tells him to take the others and leave this planet now. Vegeta grits his teeth. This can't be. This can't be where it ends. As he goes to stand up to fight some more, the ground around them all quakes. They all look around, with Vegeta smiling. His smile turns into laughter as he tells them that it's all over for them now. The mountain where Trunks threw Broly in explodes as Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, rises out of it. And that's where we're going to be leaving this episode right here. Yeah, I know. Told you guys this would be a longer one compared to the other ones. This was originally going to be one giant part, but then it turned out to be around like an hour. And I don't feel like editing an hour video right now, so I figured I'd just split it into 2 parts. This one's still pretty long though, so hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want to see the next part faster, then make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video around with your friends. That way, we can get more people to check out this series. Before I go, I want to give a huge shout out to all of the current patrons that I have right now. In the official patron tier, we have Nathan, BBB, Bossmaker, Semroth, Happy Chappy, and Courtney Hawkins. In the moving up into world tier, we have Patrick Sandelin, John Lister, Boris, and Shenron92, Oakwoodtree, Monal, Blake Foyer, Matthew Garcia, True Lightning Striker, Faisal Al-Sharif, Adrian Williams, Kelstar159, The Shadows, AK Cuber, Nuka Draco, Reese Solant, and Michael. In the VIP patron tier, we have 11726 and Kenan. And finally, in the God tier, we have Tails Homie 99. Thank you especially, Tails Homie 99. You are an absolute god. And with all that, thank you all so much for watching, and until we meet again. See you later!